Hey, I'm not king shaming. I'm not the judgmental one here, okay? In fact, I'm saying everyone should be.
Today on Anime FMK.
Yep, that is the show, apparently.
Like this is any different from every other FMK we've ever had.
It's true. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
I don't
Hello.
Yeah.
So, like, what was up with Kaminari and the dude's tail? Can we talk about that?
Yeah,
We
that was a
can.
really weird shot.
There were a few weird shots
I had
in
to
this.
pull that one back and look at it because I couldn't read the subtitles because I was too transfixed with what I was seeing.
Hey, this is Anime FMK where we talk about anime.
Yes.
Yeah,
Welcome.
some My Hero Academia. This show's canceled. Who cares? All right. So he's got his tail.
Yeah, and he's rubbing it, and the fucking guy with the tail, I can't remember his name, and I wish I could.
Tail guy.
Yeah, tail guy
Yeah.
is just standing there like, hey.
Yeah, Tail Guy says something when this is happening, and I thought it was going to be in reference to what Kaminari was doing, but he's like, no, like he just says something like, didn't we already learn this? Or like he has some very like throwaway line.
And then, and of course, and then Kaminari is just like, and then fucking Kirishima in the background is like, yeah, he's just as weirded out as the rest of us are. What is happening?
Yeah.
Why is he massaging the tail? Someone in the comments, maybe we're idiots. Maybe we missed something.
Well, maybe
but
it's just one of those things where they're like, hey, we should throw a little bit of extra personality here for these characters. They're friends, they live together, they've probably gotten pretty close.
you know, I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with this scene existing.
Kaminari
It's
has been hanging out with Kirishima and Bakugo, so you thought he was like really trying to get in with that gang, but that's because he's already making the moves on Tailboy.
Ah.
And for him, Tailboy means more than one thing.
Ah.
Oh my.
So we usually start this dumb show off with a plot synopsis. Here it is, episode 62. Nothing happens. There you go. There's your
Yeah.
plot synopsis.
Basically, two things happen. One, we learn about Twice. We learn about Twice.
Yeah, I mean, although what do we really learn about him? He wears a wife beater sometimes.
Okay, we learn his backstory, and that's cool.
The only way he feels like one person is when he's wearing his two-guy outfit.
Also introduces us to somebody who is kind of interesting.
I have a feeling they'll be important later.
Maybe.
It seems like they have a way more design than the other characters.
And then we also get to meet the big three at the very end after a very funny introduction to one of them. So.
Yeah, he can phase through stuff, is what I'm getting at. Does he have, like, Kitty Pryde powers? Is that his deal?
Yeah, that's basically his power.
All right.
We are also introduced to Sasuke Uchiha. I don't know what he's doing here. It's
yeah,
neat.
he just seems like he looked very out of place for the big three, which I like because it is just this. All right, we've got our hunky dory dude who can phase through stuff.
Fucking Tintin looking motherfucker.
Yeah. Then we've got like a perky girl who seems to be like, oh my goodness, classmate Chan.
Yep.
And then we have sad, brooding, dark kid who just seems concerned when people look at him.
Also, and out of nowhere, of course, we get Class B being Class B.
Yep.
And-
With new girl with horns.
yeah, who I think is actually a direct reference to Dragon Maid.
I was going to say.
Because, wow, that's kind of just the character from Dragon Maid. Okay. Also is a foreigner, which I'm looking forward to the terrible European accent they better give her. Because I don't know if you noticed, she has a really, really, really thick accent in this.
Yeah, I can't say I know.
I was
yeah.
going to say, I didn't notice that, but I did notice that she says something like, we're going to beat you all senseless or something.
Yeah.
And someone goes like, don't teach your phrases like that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. You know, that would make sense.
I was
Okay.
like, oh, she's foreign. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that doesn't translate incredibly well when you cannot tell that there's an accent. I could tell right away, and it made me uncomfortable because I'm like, right, Japanese, like, foreign accents are so weird to me. Like, sorry, was so desu yo. And I'm like, good you. But yeah, no, you say nothing happened in this episode, and yet, like, there's a billion scenes.
I mean, yeah, there are moving pictures. It's still
Yeah.
a show.
Animation happened, but
Yeah.
plot progress.
I mean, did it? There was lots of panning and.
Yeah, well, when it came to Twice's stuff, they didn't animate a lot of it because they're just like, this is more of a flashback, so we're going to present you with just images. Which, by the way, the Twice stuff, I remember reading the manga and kind of just going past it, going back to it. It's a really cool backstory for Twice. The idea that he made copies of himself, and then at one point they all killed each other because they wanted to be the only one, but by the end of it, none of them were left, and it was just him psychologically broken.
Yeah, just not knowing if he's the
Yeah.
original,
Yeah,
not
am I
knowing.
the real one?
Yeah, that's a really dark story. Like, darker than I was expecting out of My Hero Academia.
It's a story that you see a lot, of course, like, oh, the clones rise up against the, but you never see the aftermath, that last
it's
clone
the fallout
standing.
that you never think about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that explains that explains his dual personality and why he's a, you know, where our My Hero Academia Deadpool comes from, and I dig on that. Also, he gets to see a bunch of villains led by a guy named Overhaul with a neat mask.
That's true. Yeah, we get a peek at the fact that street violence is escalating. We get Team Reservoir Dogs over here.
Team Reservoir Dogs.
I like that twice during his monologue is just talking about, he's like, yeah, I am here was what All Might always said, and it was just this constant threat to people like us. Like everyone else, it's this message of reassurance. Like, don't worry, I'm here. But for every villain who wants to do something bad, it's him just going, hey, I'm here. Like, you don't want to do this. And now we know that's not true. So now all these bad boys are doing stuff. And then we get a second. I think we look at the lizard dude who's been in the League of Villains.
Yeah.
And then for like a second, we see Dobby burn a bunch of motherfuckers in an alley.
Yeah.
And it's like, a lot of villains have just started committing crimes.
Yep.
The smart ones have started finding other criminals.
Yeah, we see the dude with the lips recruiting
Yeah.
a big dude in a dress with pigtails.
Yeah.
His quirk is apparently just cross-dressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. But yeah, so also we see poor Deku is out of school for a couple days and he's already getting left behind and he cannot take it.
Yeah, it's interesting that in this school full of very motivated people, the worst punishment is you can't take classes.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna fill you
Yeah,
in.
that was the part I really liked, is that they were directly assigned to not give him any tips or like pass any information along. It is explicit. No, he has to fall behind. That is the punishment, is not being able to keep up.
And somebody pointed out in the comments, rather inflammatorily, hey, this is as bad as suspension. I'm like, you know what? You're right. This is essentially suspension. So, and yeah, it sucks. It is bad for him and Bakugo, and I love Ida's response. Ida's response is great because he's like, no, I'm mad at you, and you're gonna take this. This is your own fault. And poor Deku. Also, I love the fact that he's bad at cleaning, and Bakugo's like, that's not my fucking fault. I clean real well. Deku, clean your shit.
Can't you even clean right?
But yeah, it was a lot of table setting, and I think this is the sort of table setting that at the end of a season makes me a little impatient. Like at the beginning of a season, you want that, like,
Yeah.
hey, here's where everybody is, here's what they're doing. Now we can move on to the interesting stuff. I'm sitting here like, we got one episode after this. What are you setting up for? A break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like, the preview for the next episode is, wall phasing 10-10 challenges them to a fight. And, that's I'm assuming going to be the driving motivation of the next episode, which I think is the last one of the season.
Yeah, last one of the season.
So unless they've been saving like just a bit of budget for like, all right, and they're gonna have this cool all-out fight, I doubt that. So I don't know what this next episode is gonna be. I feel like these season finales of My Hero I'm not gonna call them weak, but they've always just sort of ended on like, and we'll see you next time. And
Yeah,
and that's, I'm betting where they're going.
Yeah, and this is the first and only season that I've covered episode by episode for a show.
Yeah.
When you are binging, let's say the first two seasons,
Yeah.
it doesn't phase you because it's all of a piece.
It flows.
So yeah, I'm sure that looking back on this in retrospect, it'll be fine. But watching it week to week, it's a little rough.
Yeah, this isn't like a season of, say, BoJack or, all those other shows where there's obviously a beginning and an end to the season and everything's building up to that ending. Here it's, okay, here's the allotted amount of episodes that we have, and hopefully wherever we end will be at the end of an arc because they have now started the next arc.
Well, and what's interesting is I feel like kind of a theoretical like weird issue this has is maybe it's like we have too many episodes a season for arcs, and we come to this point where it's like, well, we kind of need to set up and in a way sort of spin some wheels here for the last couple episodes. But then I remember our first episode of this season was also like a very filler, nothing happened episode. We also had that episode about love mixing in that was just a commercial for the movie. I feel like it's weird that like we're going to have what looks like 3, maybe 4 episodes of like, did we need this in a season?
I mean, we obviously need like that first episode and the love episode shouldn't have been
Right.
like
Those could be considered season episode 0 and 0.5, honestly.
Yeah.
And no one would have a problem keeping up.
Yeah, like if I'm going through this season again, a year or 2 down the line, I'm straight up skipping those episodes. This is probably not, knowing what comes after, but probably not an episode that you want to just straight up skip because it is dealing with the ongoing plot.
Yeah, these are 100% essential. Let me tell you that. And especially the next. It's weird. Like I'm not going to spoil anything, but the next episode, I don't know what they're doing for an ending here because this is. I would not have done what they did here if it were me. I would have ended the episode after, the episode before this one. I would have had been the ending, but. I mean, I guess the big 3 are really cool. Let me say that. Like, they're introducing some really cool characters who do have something to do with this next arc.
Yeah, if anything, this week's episode felt like what the first episode of the next season
Yeah,
should have
exactly.
been.
That's exactly what this feels
Because
like.
it is all about, well, we've had our 4-day break or whatever. We're going to kind of skip through the suspension period that Deku and Bakugo are on while still showing that it was a punishment. And like we did that to give the illusion of time has passed. And
Speaking of time passing, I'm not overly familiar with the Japanese educational system, so who knows, but coming at this from an American's perspective, they just got off of summer break. Should they not be class 2A now? Has it only been 1 semester, not a full year?
is it the start of a calendar year when they jump up?
It might
grades?
be.
I honestly don't know. I have no idea about the.
Yeah, actually, thinking back to it, I don't think I'm pretty sure that their school, their actual school year didn't start the prior year. I think it started in spring.
Yeah, I don't know if they started in March or something, and now it's
Yeah, I'd have to go back and check that because
starting fall or
yeah,
something.
I feel really embarrassed about this because I've done a lot of research on Japan, but I'm actually not that familiar with how their school years work.
Apparently, it's
you've
April.
done some research, but you've never gone to school in Japan. Fucking
Yeah.
gaijin.
It starts in spring.
No, actually, I think he has.
Okay. We're getting confirmation from chat that their school year starts in spring.
Starts in
so-
spring.
Yeah, okay.
April to March.
Okay. Yeah, then there you go. So,
Yeah,
it won't be until next spring that they're 2A.
Okay. That's. I know that's
seems
just
odd
my,
to
yeah, it's-
our Western sensibilities, but
Yeah. Well, it also seems odd that Jesus, so only 3, I guess 6 months have happened, including the summer
Yeah.
break, but still, with everything that's happened,
I guess if you think of summer vacation or whatever as the mid-year break instead of
yeah.
bookending your
but
years,
not to mention their summer breaks are about
half the length of ours.
yeah.
But I'm just thinking of so the sports festival happened, the attack on the school happened,
Yeah.
that first arc. They did internships, they had a summer break with a camp, they had all of this was crammed into not even half a year, really?
Their shit is-
At-
their shit has been
supposedly,
intense.
supposedly they went to class once or twice in the middle of all this nonsense.
Yeah, that's a decent enough point.
Not that it's a deal breaker or anything. It's
Well,
just
the one thing with the sum or the whatchamacallit, the exam that they had, not the hero exam also only took a day, but their sports festival was a weekend. That wasn't a huge chunk of time.
yeah, but I mean, typically, you're training and preparing for stuff like that for a couple of
Well,
weeks.
wasn't that right before summer break? It was they did sport festival, summer camp, and then everything happened.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they did sports festival, then they did their internships, Then
the
they did
internships
summer
was like-
camp.
The internships were a week.
Okay.
Yeah, that was only a week long. So I'm not. If I remember correctly, because I feel like I just read back up on that. Their internships lasted about a week long.
Yeah. I mean, it.
I might be wrong, chat. Don't feel free to tell me I'm wrong.
I think it's
Yeah.
only a week.
Yeah.
Reading the manga, yeah. My question is, do you really think they're just going to advance to the next grade? They're not going to do a weird time skip?
You know, that's an interesting prospect. I mean, time skips are kind of quintessential to the process
So we're
of
gonna have
shonen
class
anime.
1A, and then flash forward. It's like, I
3A.
can't believe we're graduating. Or
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I can tell you right now, we're not close to that.
Yeah.
But-
I don't know. My big point of comparison to this is the Harry Potter novels, where they do, and again, it is more similar to it's British, but it's more similar to what an American school year would be. But you have these markers in every book, like, and then Halloween happens, and then Christmas happens in this weird alternate world where nobody seems actually religious and Christianity doesn't seem to really exist. But
nah, when Jesus casts abracadabra or whatever on the Sins.
Avada Kedavra.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah,
I've only watched the movies once.
I have
and,
read a book and watched 3 movies, and I can't tell you anything else other than it's Avada Kedavra and Leviosa.
yeah.
They
So-
cast Leviosa on Jesus up on the cross
Yeah,
to have him
when
hang
Jesus
there.
cast Leviosa all over that water.
But yeah,
they cast it on the boulder and opened up the crypt, and Jesus said, "Hey, I've been here for 3 days, you fuckers."
Yeah,
I think
Jesus
it's-
with his scar on his head ascended.
I think it's a lot easier to follow because the Japanese are familiar with their school system, what the breaks are, when everything works. So for guys like us, it's like, so wait, when is this? How much time has passed? I guess it's.
How long has Tommy Pickles been 1 year old? I ask you.
Too long, because I hate Rugrats. Fight me.
But yeah. So yeah, it's kind of it's sort of interesting because yeah, they have gone through a lot in this time. It's a lot to think about. Like it might have been a week for the internships, it might have been a weekend for the sports festival, but these things were such huge focuses that it's impossible to believe that, or like not impossible, but just such a lot to take in that maybe when is this at the end of summer break? So what, September maybe?
I guess.
I would love
that's-
for someone to do the math to find out, like, the first couple episodes of the show at all is like a training montage of
Yeah.
Deku preparing to enlist to enroll in UA. Has more time passed in that single episode than we've seen since he got to school.
Oh my god, I just realized that must have been early April because the sakura blossoms were out. And that's when the sakura blossoms
Yeah, there's a
happened
lot
in
of
Japan.
pink in those early episodes because of all the blossom.
Yeah, so that had to be early April. So that means that, he got in by May and then their curriculum started. When was the sports festival? Was that a summer sports festival?
I
or
think
was
that was
spring?
ushering in summer. I think that was the last school thing they were doing before summer.
So maybe there was a month?
And in that month is when the attack on UA happened.
Oh my god. So much.
Yeah, I don't. Something's not adding up here. If somebody can post a link to the official
I was
My
gonna
Hero
say, there's-
calendar.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean-
probably dates noted and things.
I bet the time works out. It's just nuts that these kids feel like, and honestly, understandably, especially now that these kids are on an accelerated timeline.
I mean, do Japanese schools not take a break in the summer? Because this cannot be. That's not a semester between May and summer.
I mean, it could be like a week-long break.
Yeah. Well, again, I can tell you that Japanese summer breaks are way shorter than American.
Yeah, I do know their summer break is much shorter than ours. but-
Yeah. As far as I've ever seen, I've always been kind of like floored by the fact that, oh yeah, I think I got a 2-week summer break.
Don't they go to school on Saturday like heathens?
Some of them do, yeah, which is just nuts to me.
If it seems like we're getting lost on a big, huge tangent and not talking about this episode, again, let me direct you to the plot synopsis. Nothing happened. Seriously, though.
Isn't night school like a big thing in
Cram
Japan?
school? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, is there night hero school?
You
I
know,
mean-
I bet there is.
It
Night classes for heroism.
yeah, I mean, what's it? Bakugo, Todoroki, and who was the other person who didn't pass?
Wind guy.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
so
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, those two from Class A, like yeah, they're supposedly taking cram school
Yeah.
to be able to retake the exam or test out of it or something?
Okay, yeah. So the new school system in Japan starts in April.
April is when their school year starts.
Yeah.
Okay,
And their break is 40 days for summer.
Is that like in August or something? Like
Yeah.
April, May, June,
July.
July.
It's from July 20th to August 15th, essentially.
Okay, so yeah, it's like okay, yeah, that is like a semester. It's just
We can figure that math out.
all right.
Yeah.
All I'm sure is somewhere something throws off our plan when Shigaraki or something is like scratching himself. Be like, yes, and we'll attack UA September 1st. Or something, like just throwing all of our map off.
But so yeah, this is a weird one to try. We got these dumb cards. I don't even know what they're for anymore.
Oh, yeah,
This
man.
is a weird one to try and like honestly, I kind of didn't like this episode because fucking nothing happens. But it's not like I'm gonna stop watching.
It's one of the first episodes I did not go back and rewatch at some point since I don't have the normal load you guys do, and usually I have time to be like, I'll freshen up on this one
Yeah.
on Sunday night. But
I think it's fine. I like learning about Twice. That was cool.
yeah,
And,
I like that.
and I love the moment where I forget what his. Do we even get it? The one guy's name? I don't even know if we got Tintin's name
I think they mention it. I think
'Cause-
they all three name themselves.
because
at
I know
the
his
end of the
name, but I
episode.
can't remember if they mentioned it, so I don't want to say it
Yeah,
yet.
I can't remember. it,
But when his head goes through the wall, I was like, that his quirk is really neat, and the way that he uses it in that scene is like
hey, you're that guy
classic.
everybody likes from Class 1A. Well, anyway, later. Which is just his thing.
Yeah, he takes.
Figured I'd let you know that I'm a senior and I've been looking at you. Bye.
I didn't watch the episode. Does he have any like sound effect for when he's phasing, or is
Nothing
it just
memorable that I really noticed.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you did.
Oh shoot, I can't remember. I think he might have had something, but I don't think that was the focus of that.
I just want JoJo sound effects in my.
Dude, don't talk to me about JoJo sound effects. You're never gonna get as good of sound effects as JoJo sound effects.
I know.
I think I'm getting to the point where just the kids going to school and being kids isn't enough for me anymore. I think that's kind of the problem.
Well, good for you.
I feel like for me, it's one of those. I think I would be fine with they're just kids at school episodes, but it would have to be like, no, we are committing to this is like a school episode. Like
Yeah.
I want there to be scenes at people at lockers. I want there to be scenes of people like in classrooms doing stuff and like passing notes and shit. If we're going to have all right, for this episode, they are in school. I want it to be a fucking slice of life school.
I
Yeah,
agree
like actually
wholeheartedly.
tell a story
Yeah.
instead of just, hey, remember how these guys were going to be under house arrest? Well, that happened.
Yeah. That was kind of lame though. Like, hey, you're under house arrest, and you get one episode of that actually meaning anything. No, half
Yeah, I
an
was gonna say, you
episode
get
of that
half an
actually
episode of
meaning
that meaning
anything.
something.
I mean it.
Yeah, if this is all you're going to do with it, just skip past it. It's fine. I am willing to believe that it happened.
Yeah. I mean, it is important to show that there are repercussions at least, but at least then again they do have some funny moments with that.
Yeah,
Again, Ida's reaction to Deku is worth that for me.
Yeah, I
almost.
like that sequence with Ida just talking down to them and everyone being like, "We can't tell you what we learned." Like, I thought that was a fun interaction.
Yeah.
That said, it could have been like limited to exactly that scene and been probably enough for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I still am of the mindset of like, I want to see these kids just being at school. I want to see them dealing with situations where their superpowers are not the solution.
Well.
And I can agree that episodes like this, where it feels like they are trying to tiptoe in both sides of this equation, I don't think work very well. And that's kind of where I am. And I'm curious as to where, obviously, this next season, when it has room to ramp up and grow and be more involved, I want to see.
I will say that is one of the kind of betrayals of a show called My Hero Academia, in that they talk a lot about what it takes, what it goes into becoming a hero in the school, but they also like Horikoshi knew that he couldn't just have the school stuff happen. He also had to have some things to change it up, some real stakes, because just going to school, there aren't a lot of stakes, and that doesn't make for a great battle shonen manga. You got to have stakes and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I think that also kind of betrays its
Yeah, I mean, I think the sports festival was an arc where it was all in the school. There was no like,
Yeah.
and then the League of Villains attacks, but you felt the stakes
Yeah.
really keenly,
Yeah.
and I think that was kind of what was missing here.
Yeah, because like to a lesser extent, even the provisional license exam was really cool and was an exciting part. But that kind of just like at the end, it's like, and you all passed except for you guys who failed, but you also kind of passed because all you're gonna have to do is some off-screen school and you're with us. Like
Yeah.
it was good, like in the moment character growth of like, hey, you failed,
Yeah.
and like that we got to let Bakugo expand on that, but. At the end of the provisional license exam, it kind of felt like the stakes were lowered when they were just like, and everybody passed! 'Cause-
Yeah.
And I mean, the closest thing to tension here was, what's this work-study thing? Why we don't know anything about it?
Yeah.
And the end of the episode is, and now we're going to tell you this information that, is this not just public knowledge when you're going to this school, what the curriculum is? Why is this a big mystery?
Yeah, actually, that is kind of like, hey, use the internet.
Yeah.
It's
We
probably
didn't have
on
time
the,
to make the internet when we were busy dealing with people getting quirks.
Yeah. Also,
Ignore all those YouTube videos of All Might Online.
also, if I had to be completely honest, so you said like the sports festival was school related. Yes, absolutely it was. But when I think about the school part, there's a part of me that's wondering like, hey, what's their curriculum like? What are they learning? Like, there's a part of me that's kind of wondering about the more granular stuff instead of, hey, you two fight.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what the sports festival was. It was fighting. It was a tournament arc. And again, in this episode is the closest thing I feel like, one of the few episodes where it's like, no, this is the school stuff, actual in school classes and all that, and the granular stuff of becoming a hero, which to me is actually interesting.
See, I think it can be interesting. I think they did a
Yeah.
bad job
I
of
think this
making it
episode is a bad
interesting.
example of
Yeah.
trying. Like, I
Like-
would totally be down for a slice of life. Here's just the
Yeah.
episode of them in a classroom, and we see dumb shit like, all right, Todoroki is using his icy hot power to make like some fucking like coffee or something, and we have Yaoyorosa like fucking earjack girl's like, oh, I forgot my pen, and Yaoyorosa's like, got it, here you go. Like, just I want to see dumb shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh my
in,
god,
like,
yeah, no.
Like,
Creative everyday uses of powers. Oh, that's just everywhere.
yeah,
I
like,
love
there's-
that kind of stuff.
There's some dumb fan art that I saw going around on Twitter somewhere where they break an egg on Todoroki and it starts sizzling, and you just see Ida freaking out because he's like, "This works." And
Yeah.
I want to see the kids doing dumb shit like that if we're going to have an episode where it's like, and today they're just in school.
Yeah, and I mean, not to bang on the Harry Potter drum, but like a lot of Harry Potter fans didn't like Half-Blood Prince, which for those of you who are less familiar, that's the one where it's love triangle city everywhere.
Ugh.
And a lot of people hated that because none of this matters. Like, yeah, no, that's what high school
But that's
is.
what school is,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was 100% on board. Like, yeah, let's watch Harry crushing on this chick, and it's weird and awkward and dumb. Like, yeah, that's what high school
what
is.
school-
There are stories to be told there, and that's fine. And if they wanted to actually get into that, sure, I'm down with it. But it seems like they're kind of trying to serve two masters and kind of serving both of them poorly.
Yeah.
You know what I really want to see more of? Just them on their cell phones doing dumb shit. Like, can you
yeah.
imagine them just like Snapchatting each other? Because they're in high school. They're just dumb kids. Why aren't they on Twitter? And
Yeah, and I think that is really what we're looking forward to most. I will say,
Deku gets offered drugs. There's a whole episode. Let's do this.
I need to see an episode where Uraraka thinks way too hard about posting this picture of her lunch.
Can what's her name? Yayorozu, Creation Girl. Can she just make drugs for everybody? I don't know.
Oh my God! If she's high on something, does that mean she's able to produce a good product of
She
whatever she's
creates it?
high on? Can she make like little tabs for?
But yeah, just this episode just felt very, it wasn't sure what it was like doing for them. Like honestly, I keep thinking of this episode as 2 episodes because I do think the stuff with Twice was actually really good.
Yeah.
And when you brought that up, I forgot that like, oh, I do actually really like that brief perspective like switch.
But it is literally, because here's the thing, it is, I believe, just one chapter in the manga. I think it's exactly where it was supposed to be. It might have actually been earlier, before the whole thing between Bakugo and Deku. I can't remember. It was around this point where this actual
Chapter
chapter played out. but it also kind of like it's really cool, but you're also kind of like segmenting what could have been a bigger, better whole had it not preceded what like the stuff with the big three.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we spent so much time on that when we were introducing the big three and stuff like that, it felt very rushed and just like, also here's these other characters who everyone knows is important and you should too.
Yeah.
And
But then again, weekly show.
Yeah.
So we'll wait till next week and see how it pays off.
Yep, in 1 week, 'cause that's how long it has. All right.
No, that's how long we have.
It's true. We'll all be
really,
dead.
it's how long any of us have. Who
Yeah.
knows?
1 week.
Is a Bare Naked Lady song.
Yeah.
See you next 1 week by Bare Naked Lady.
It's Ben,
Ah! You said the thing.
Chickadee China, the Chinese
Chinese chicken.